The rain hit the tin roof like soft drumming when Lena whispered, "Ethan, do you ever get tired of this?" I looked up from the cracked coffee mug in my hand. "Tired of what?" "This," she sighed, waving at our tiny apartment. The walls were faded, the couch older than us, and the single light flickered whenever it rained. I smiled anyway. "It's not perfect, but it's ours." She laughed faintly. "Yours, maybe. I'm just borrowing space in your dream." That stung, but I hid it behind a grin. "You said this was our dream, remember? 2 years, a little savings, and we'll open that coffee shop you always talk about." Her eyes softened for a moment. "You really think that'll happen?" "I know it will," I said quietly. "We've survived worse." She didn't answer. The silence between us said more than words ever could. Later that night, I cooked noodles on our one-burner stove. She scrolled through her phone, her face lit by a glow that didn't belong to me anymore. "Who are you texting?" I asked gently. She locked the screen fast. "Just Clara. Relax." I wasn't upset, I said, though my stomach tightened. "You've been distant lately." She shrugged. "Maybe I'm just tired, Ethan. Not everyone finds joy in instant noodles and broken furniture." I forced a laugh. "Hey, these noodles got us through college." "Yeah," she murmured. "Back when I thought struggling together was romantic."
Oh.
"And now?" She didn't look at me. "Now, I'm not sure." The next day, I left early for work at the hardware store. I remember standing behind the counter, replaying her words in my head. Every "not sure" echoed like thunder. When I came home, she wasn't there. Just a note on the table, "Went out with friends." I didn't mind at first. But then it started happening more often. One night she came back wearing a red dress I'd never seen before. The kind that didn't belong in our world. "Wow," I said, smiling despite the knot in my chest. "You look incredible, thanks," she said flatly. "Where'd you go?" "Just dinner," she said. "With who?" "Friends? Clara?" She hesitated. "Yeah, Clara." I looked at her eyes. They darted away too fast. The next evening, I found her sitting on the balcony, staring into the city lights. I sat beside her quietly. "Do you remember our first night here?" I asked. She smiled faintly. "You promised me the world." "I believed you. I still will give it to you," I said. "I just need time," her voice cracked. "Time doesn't pay bills, Ethan. Time doesn't buy dreams." I turned to her. "So what do you want me to do? Steal it?" "No," she whispered. "Just be realistic." "I am realistic," I said firmly. "I know it's hard," but she cut me off. "You don't get it. You never had to choose between love and survival." I blinked. "Are you saying love isn't enough anymore?" She didn't answer. That night I couldn't sleep. The clock ticked louder than usual, and I watched her from across the room. She was awake too, scrolling her phone again. Finally, I spoke. "Lena, are we okay?" She turned slowly. "I don't know." Those 3 words hit harder than any storm outside. The next morning I tried to make her breakfast like old times. Pancakes. Slightly burnt. She didn't eat them. "I'm late for work," she said, grabbing her purse. "Work?" I frowned. "You don't start until noon." She froze. "I've got new hours." "Since when?" She ignored the question and left. When she was gone, I sat alone at the table, staring at the cold pancakes. Something inside me broke quietly, like a glass slipping from the counter but never shattering loud enough for the world to hear. Days passed in slow motion. She came home less, smiled less, loved less. I tried to fix it with words, but she stopped listening halfway through every sentence. "Lena," I said one night, "I know things are rough, but if we keep believing," she laughed bitterly. "Believing doesn't fill a fridge, Ethan. Neither does giving up." She turned away. Maybe I already did. One evening, I came home early. Her heels were by the door, her perfume heavy in the air. The bedroom door was closed. I heard her voice soft laughing through the crack. I pushed it open a little and froze. She was on a call. "Adam, stop. You'll get me in trouble," she giggled. My heart stopped. I didn't go in. I walked back outside and sat on the steps until the rain started again. When she came out later, I pretended nothing happened. "Long day?" I asked. "Yeah," she said casually. "Just work stuff," I nodded. "Right, work stuff." She kissed my cheek out of habit. "Not love," then went to bed. I stayed up till dawn, staring at the ceiling, wondering when love had turned into a transaction. But even then, I didn't stop loving her. I told myself she was just lost, that we'd find our way back. I held on to the dream even as it slipped from my hands, because back then, I still believed that love could fix everything. I didn't know yet that storms don't just come and go sometimes. They never really end. The night she came home late, I knew something had changed. The clock read 11:47 p.m. when the door creaked open. "Lena," I called softly. She froze at the doorway, heels clicking against the floor. Her perfume was sharp, expensive, something I'd never smelled on her before. "Hey," she said quickly. "You're still awake?" "Yeah." I tried to smile. "I waited for dinner." "You didn't text." "I got busy," she said, brushing past me. "Busy where?" "Just a work thing." I looked at her new black dress. "That's new." She adjusted the strap. Clara lent it. I nodded slowly. "It looks good. Must have been some work event." She turned her back to me. "You're interrogating me again, Ethan?" "No," I said quietly. "I just missed you," she sighed. "I'm tired. Can we not do this tonight?" I nodded. "Sure." She went straight to bed, leaving her phone on the table. I shouldn't have looked. But when it lit up, the name on the screen burned through me. Adam Reed. "Had a great time tonight. Next time, dinner's on me." My chest tightened. My thumb hovered, but I couldn't bring myself to open it. When she came back for her phone, she caught me staring. "Something wrong?" she asked, voice low. "Who's Adam?" I asked. She blinked. "A client. From the marketing firm. Clients usually text about business, not dinner." Well, she snatched the phone. "It's just work, Ethan. Don't make this into something ugly." "I'm not," I said, my voice shaking. "I just want the truth." She glared. "You're being paranoid. Then prove me wrong." "I don't owe you proof." The silence that followed was louder than any fight we'd ever had. The next few days were colder. She stopped saying good morning. Her kisses felt mechanical, like routine instead of love. On Thursday, she told me she was going to a team meeting. "Late again?" I asked. She avoided my eyes. "Yeah." "Don't wait up." That was the night I saw her outside the cafe near my work. She wasn't with her team. She was with him, Adam Reed, tall, expensive suit, confidence dripping from every gesture. He placed his hand on her arm. She didn't move it away. I stood across the street, too stunned to cross. My feet felt glued to the pavement. I watched her laugh, the same laugh she used to save for me. I went home that night without a word. I didn't confront her. I just sat in the dark until the clock hit 3. When she finally returned, I whispered, "How was the meeting?" She flinched at my tone. "Fine. Did Adam enjoy it too?" Her breath caught. "You followed me?" "No," I said, my voice trembling. "I just happened to see you. Ethan, please, please." "What?" I snapped. "Pretend it's not happening? Pretend you're still mine when you're not." Her lips parted, but no sound came out. "I loved you," I said. "I gave you everything I had," she whispered. "It's not enough." The words hit me like a blade. The next morning, she was packing her clothes. "What are you doing?" I asked. She didn't look up. "I can't do this anymore. Lena, please." She zipped her bag. "You deserve someone who's content with this life." "I'm not." I grabbed her hand. "We can fix it." "I'll work harder. I'll stop," she said sharply. "You don't get it. I don't want to struggle forever. I'm tired of counting every coin, Ethan. So you'd rather count someone else's money?" Her eyes flashed. "Don't twist this, then tell me it's not about him." She hesitated. "It's not just about him. It's about me wanting more. More than love." I asked bitterly. "Love doesn't pay rent." I stepped back, staring at her. "You said love was all you needed," I was wrong. For a long time, neither of us spoke. The sound of her suitcase zipper echoed like a verdict. Finally, I said, "Does he make you happy?" She wiped her eyes. "He makes life easier." I felt something inside me die quietly. "So that's it?" She nodded. "I'm sorry." "Don't say sorry," I whispered. "Say goodbye." She looked at me for one last second, that same face I'd memorized 100 times. I walked out the door. The apartment felt heavier after she left. Her perfume lingered on the curtains, her laughter in the walls. I sat on the floor, staring at the empty space where her shoes used to be. I don't know how long I sat there before my phone buzzed. It was Grace. "Hey, you okay?" "Haven't seen you at work," I typed back. She left. Grace replied almost instantly. "Come by the cafe tomorrow." "You shouldn't be alone." I stared at the message, my fingers trembling. I didn't want pity. I wanted Lena back, but I knew deep down she wasn't coming. Not for love. Not for me. The next morning, I went to the cafe anyway. Grace waved from behind the counter, concern in her eyes. "You look awful," she said softly. "I feel worse." She handed me a cup of coffee. "You don't have to talk about it." I shook my head. "She chose him." Grace's voice dropped. "Adam Reed. You know him?" She nodded. "Clara mentioned he's been seeing someone new." I didn't realize it was her. I laughed bitterly. "Guess everyone knew before I did." Grace reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "You didn't lose, Ethan. You just loved the wrong person." I didn't answer. I just stared at the coffee until it went cold, wondering when love had turned into something I couldn't afford. The first week after she left, the silence hurt more than her absence. Her toothbrush still stood by the sink. Her mug sat beside mine. Every corner of the apartment whispered her name. I stopped going to work. I stopped answering calls. I just stopped. One afternoon, someone knocked on my door. "Ethan." "It's me," a soft voice said. I didn't move. The knocking grew louder. "Ethan, I know you're in there." I sighed and opened the door. Grace stood outside holding a grocery bag. "Wow," she said, wrinkling her nose. "You look like a ghost." "Thanks," I muttered. "Just what I needed to hear," she smiled faintly. "Good. You're still sarcastic. That means you're alive." "Barely." She stepped inside without asking. "When was the last time you ate something that wasn't instant noodles?" I shrugged. "Does coffee count?" "No." She placed the bag on the counter and started unpacking containers. "You're eating." End of discussion. I leaned against the wall. "You don't have to play nurse, Grace." She glanced at me. "And you don't get to starve yourself over someone who walked away." Her words hit harder than I expected. "Don't talk about her," I said quietly. "Then talk to me," she replied. "I don't want to." "Tough. I'm not leaving." We ate in silence. Well, she ate. I pushed food around my plate. After a while, she said, "She really hurt you, didn't she?" I gave a hollow laugh. "You could say that. You loved her more than yourself." "I did," I admitted. "And she traded that love for comfort." Grace leaned forward. "Then she lost more than you did." I looked up. "You don't get it. She was my everything." "Maybe that's the problem," she said softly. "You made her your world, and when she left, the world ended." I frowned. "So what am I supposed to do now? Build a new one?" "Yes," she said simply. I laughed, bitter and small. "It's not that easy." "No," she agreed. "But it's possible." That night, after she left, I sat alone again. The room felt lighter somehow. Maybe because, for the first time, someone else had breathed inside it. But the weight returned by morning. I went to make coffee and saw her lipstick mark still faint on the mug she used to drink from. My chest tightened again. Later that day, Grace texted, "You're coming outside today." No excuses. I didn't reply. An hour later, she stood at my door again. "Let's go for a walk," she said. "I'm not in the mood. Good thing moods aren't required." I sighed. "Grace," she crossed her arms. "Ethan, if you stay in this apartment any longer, it'll eat you alive." Something in her tone made me give in. We walked to the park near the cafe. The world looked brighter than I remembered. Kids laughing, people talking, sunlight cutting through leaves. I muttered, "Feels weird being out here." She smiled. "That's because you've been hiding in a cave of sadness." I looked at her. "You always this blunt?" "Only with people I care about." It caught me off guard. "You care about me?" She shrugged. "Someone has to." We sat on a bench. I stared at the ground. I keep hearing her voice, you know? Every time I close my eyes. "That's normal," Grace said softly. "You shared a life. Your brain hasn't caught up yet." I exhaled. "It's pathetic. I should hate her. Do you?" "No," I said quietly. "And that's what hurts the most." She nodded. "You don't stop loving someone overnight, but you can start healing." I looked at her. "How? By letting someone in again?" "Us." I laughed dryly. "You volunteering?" She smiled. "Maybe I already did." That night, when she dropped me off, she lingered at the door. "Promise me you'll eat," she said. "I will, and you'll shower." "Wow, you really know how to flirt." She laughed. And for the first time in weeks, I did too. "Good night, Ethan," she said softly. "Good night, Grace." When the door closed, I leaned against it, smiling faintly. For a moment, the apartment didn't feel so empty. Maybe I was still broken. But for the first time, I was breathing again. The morning I finally looked at myself in the mirror, I didn't recognize the man staring back. Pale eyes, hollow cheeks, a heart still cracked open, but something inside me whispered, "Enough," I said it out loud. "I'm done being the broken one." That night, I opened my laptop and started searching business growth, leadership, investments, startup management. Every click felt like oxygen. Grace called around midnight. "You're still awake?" she asked. "Yeah," I said, trying to figure out how people rebuild their lives.
Oh.
She chuckled softly. "You start by sleeping. I'll sleep when I'm better." She paused. "You sound different tonight." Maybe I am. Days turned into weeks. My nights were full of books, notes, podcasts. I started carrying a journal everywhere, scribbling ideas between tasks at work. One morning, my manager noticed. "What are you always writing, Ethan?" He asked. "Just thoughts," I said. He laughed. "Well, keep them to yourself, unless they make us money." I smiled faintly. "One day they will." A month later, a tall man in a navy suit stopped by my desk. Sharp eyes, calm posture. Everyone straightened when he walked in. "Mr. Donovan," my manager said nervously. "This is Ethan Cole from Product Research." Mr. Donovan nodded. "Cole, you were the one who sent that report about restructuring client strategy." I froze. "Yes, sir." I wasn't sure anyone actually read it. "I did," he said. "It was rough but insightful. You saw flaws others ignored." "Thank you, sir," I said, pulse racing. He studied me. "You free for lunch?" My manager's jaw nearly dropped. "Ah, sir. I'd be honored." At the restaurant, Mr. Donovan didn't waste time. "Tell me," he said, "why did you suggest scrapping the entire middle-tier model?" "Because it's outdated," I replied. "It keeps us busy, but not profitable. The clients we lose are the ones who could scale, but our system chokes their potential." He leaned back. "You speak like someone who's been burned by loyalty." I smiled faintly. "Something like that," he nodded slowly. "Good pain teaches clarity." "Keep that," I blinked, "sir." "Most people run from failure," he said. "You analyzed yours." "That's rare." Hesitated. "I'm trying to change that." "You already have," he said. "I'm promoting you. Report directly to me, starting Monday." I almost dropped my fork. "I what?" "You earned it." "Don't make me regret it." "I won't," I promised. "Good," he smiled. "Now finish your food. You'll need strength." That night, I called Grace. "You're talking to the new strategy lead," I said. Still stunned, she gasped. "You're kidding?" "Nope. Mr. Donovan himself promoted me. It's incredible, Ethan. I told you there's more in you than you think." I laughed softly. Guess he saw it before I did. "Sometimes we need someone else's eyes," she said. "But I'm proud of you." Her words hit deep. You've been here through all of it, I said. I don't even know how to thank you. You don't need to, she replied. Just keep going. Work became different after that. Long hours didn't bother me. I had purpose again. Mr. Donovan would call me into meetings, pushing, challenging, correcting. One evening, after a brutal presentation, he said, "You still sound like you're asking for permission. Stop doing that." I frowned. "I'm just trying to be respectful. Respect is earned through results, not hesitation," he said. "Confidence isn't arrogance. Remember that." "Yes, sir. And Ethan," he added, lowering his tone, "don't let gratitude make you small." Line stayed with me all night. By the end of the month, I had rewritten 2 key proposals and saved the company thousands. People who once ignored me now asked for advice. Grace noticed too. "You're glowing," she said one evening. "Glowing." "I think it's just the office lights." "No," she said. "It's something else. You're alive again." Smiled. "Feels strange, like I've been asleep for years." "Then don't go back to sleep," she whispered. I looked at her and nodded. "I won't." When I got home that night, I stood by the window overlooking the city. The lights shimmered like possibilities. My chest felt lighter, heart beat steadier. Lena's ghost was still there somewhere, but it no longer defined me. I whispered, "You didn't break me, you built me." And for the first time, I actually believed it. I still remember the first day I walked into that glass-walled conference room, confident, tailored, and no longer the man who used to beg someone to stay. Grace said that morning, "You look dangerous." I grinned. "Good. I've been harmless long enough." She smirked. "Just don't forget the heart underneath that new armor." "I won't," I said. But part of me already knew. The old heart was gone. The meeting started sharp at 9. Mr. Donovan stood beside me as I outlined our proposal. My voice didn't shake this time. "Our current logistics chain bleeds efficiency," I said. "We either rebuild from the core or sync with old systems." One of the directors frowned. "You're suggesting we scrap our vendors entirely?" "Yes," I said, steady, "and switch to our in-house model. The short-term risk is worth the long-term gain." Silence. Then Mr. Donovan nodded. "Do it." The directors looked stunned. He turned to them. "You asked for change? He's delivering it." When the meeting ended, Mr. Donovan clapped my shoulder. "You led like an owner today." It breathed out. "That means a lot, sir," he smiled. "Then start thinking like one." Weeks later, the results were undeniable. Profits surged, operations streamlined, and my name started echoing in executive circles. Lucas, one of the senior analysts, approached me one evening. He was new, sharp suit, sharper mind. "You're Ethan Cole, right?" he asked. "Depends," I said. "Who's asking?" He laughed. "Lucas Gray. I just joined Donovan's team. He told me you're the one to learn from." "That's a first," I said. "Usually I'm the one learning." "It's not anymore," he said. "You're leading the biggest transition this firm's seen in years. How does it feel?" I thought for a moment, like breathing after drowning. He nodded slowly. "Then keep breathing, man. You're setting a standard." Mr. Donovan called me into his office that Friday. He gestured toward a folder on his desk. "You've exceeded every target. The investors want to meet you personally." "That's unexpected," I said. He leaned back. "Ethan, you've earned more than applause." "I'm starting a new venture, a firm focused on innovation consulting. I want you as my partner." The word hit me like a shockwave. "Partner?" "Yes," he said. "You've got vision, discipline, and something money can't buy, hunger. I trust that." I tried to speak, but the words tangled. "Sir, I don't know what to say." "Say yes," he replied simply. I laughed, a little breathless. "Then yes." He extended his hand. "Welcome aboard, partner." When I shook it, I felt something deep shift inside me. The man who once scraped to survive now stood on the edge of power that night. Grace insisted on celebrating. She brought wine and takeout. A partner. "Ethan, that's insane." "It's surreal," I admitted. "Feels like I stepped into someone else's life." "No," she said. "This is your life, the one you rebuilt." I smiled. You make it sound heroic. It is, she said quietly. You rose from nothing. I looked at her, really looked. You've been my anchor, Grace. Don't think I forgot that. She blushed slightly. You just needed someone to remind you what you were worth. Well, I said, raising my glass, mission accomplished. We clinked glasses, laughter cutting through the quiet apartment. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel broken, but power brings whispers. In one evening, I heard a familiar name echo in a conversation outside the office cafe. Adam Reed's company is bleeding cash, someone said. Investors are jumping ship. I froze mid-step. Another voice added, apparently his girlfriend Lena. Keeps showing up at events, trying to charm sponsors. Not working, though. She looks out of place. My jaw tightened. Lucas appeared beside me. You good? Yeah, I said quickly. He raised a brow. You sure? You went pale. Just old memories, I said. He didn't press inside, though. A storm brewed. Not of anger, but of quiet, deliberate satisfaction. That night I sat on my balcony. City lights stretching endlessly below. I thought about Lena, the way she once complained about our cheap apartment, the way she said she couldn't live and struggle forever. Now she was surrounded by wealth, but maybe starving for peace. Grace called me again. You sound distracted, she said. Just thinking. I replied. About her? I hesitated. Maybe? Does it still hurt? I looked at the skyline. No, it used to. Now, it's just a reminder of what? That people leave, but lessons stay. She was silent for a moment. Then softly, you're not the same man anymore. I know, I said. And that's both the best and scariest part. The next day, Mr. Donovan introduced Lucas and me to the board of our new firm. This, he said, is the future. Lucas leaned over and whispered, we really are the underdogs, huh? I smirked. Not anymore. When the meeting ended, I walked through the lobby, passing a row of reporters flashing cameras. I caught my reflection in the marble wall. Sharp suit, confident stance, unflinching eyes. For a moment, imagine Lena seeing me now, not out of spite, but closure. The man she left behind was gone. The man who replaced him didn't chase love or approval. He built his own world, and maybe that was the real revenge, not hate, but success. That night I wrote one line in my journal. They thought breaking me was victory. They never realized they were just lighting my fuse. I closed the book, smiled faintly, and whispered to the empty room, the rise has only begun. The ballroom glittered with chandeliers and champagne laughter, a place I once thought was meant for people like Adam Reed. Not me. Grace adjusted my tie. You look tense, she whispered. I'm fine, I said, scanning the crowd. Just another event. You've said that 3 times already. I like to be convincing. She smirked. You're terrible at lying. I smiled faintly. Maybe, but tonight I need to be unreadable. Before she could reply, the announcer's voice echoed, Please welcome the partners of Donovan and Cole, consultancy co-hosts of tonight's charity gala. Applause erupted. I stepped onto the stage beside Mr. Donovan, shaking hands, exchanging nods. Cameras flashed. I stood tall, not as the broken man I used to be, but as someone reborn. Then I saw her. Lena, her hair was shorter now, styled to perfection. Her red dress shimmered under the lights, but her eyes, they carried exhaustion. And when they met mine, she froze. The applause blurred. The noise faded. Only that silence remained, the kind that once lived between us before everything fell apart. After the presentation, Grace and I walked toward the networking tables. You okay? She murmured. She's here, I said. Grace followed my gaze. Lena? Yeah. She sighed softly. Do you want to leave? No, I said. I've been running long enough. Minutes later, Lena approached, hesitant steps masking practiced grace. Ethan. Her voice cracked slightly. I turned calmly. Lena, she forced a smile. You look. Different. I should, I replied. It's been years. Her eyes darted over my suit, the company badge pinned to my pocket. You're part of Donovan and Cole? Koner, I said evenly. We're bidding for the same contract as Reed Enterprises. Her lips parted, color draining from her face. You're bidding against us? Business, I said. Nothing personal, she laughed nervously. You always did say that line. I learned it from people like you. Her eyes flickered. Ethan, I didn't mean to don't, I interrupted quietly. We're at an event. Let's not rewrite history here. Her breath hitched. I just didn't expect to see you like this. Neither did I said. But life's funny that way. Grace walked up beside me, offering a polite nod. Lena, right? I've heard of you. Lena's smile faltered. You must be Grace. Ethan mentioned you once. Only good things, I hope, Grace said smoothly. I could almost feel the tension simmering between them. Lena forced a laugh. Of course, you two seem close. Grace met her gaze without flinching. We are. Lena's eyes dropped. I see. Then a voice cut through the crowd, confident. Smug. Ethan Cole, Adam Reed said, strolling over with a glass of whiskey. I'll be damned. I turned, meeting his grin. Adam. He clapped my shoulder. Didn't think I'd see you here. Last I heard, you were still crawling up the ladder. I smiled faintly. Some of us climb faster than expected, he chuckled. Guess so. Koner now? Huh? Impressive. Your firm's reputation precedes you, I said. Though lately, not for the right reasons. His grin wavered. Careful, Cole. Pride has a short lifespan. Right, true, I said. You'd know. Grace shot me a warning look. Adam's jaw tightened. Let's see who wins the bid, shall we? Let's, I said simply. He walked off, Lena trailing behind, her face pale. Grace exhaled. Well, that was intense. I kept it professional, I said. You were ice cold, she replied. And honestly, it was beautiful. I gave a faint laugh. You sound proud. I am, she said. She needed to see who you became. I looked across the room, Lena standing beside Adam, pretending to laugh at something he said. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. She looks lost, I murmured. Grace tilted her head. Do you feel sorry for her? I thought for a moment. No, just detached. That's growth, she said softly. Or numbness. It's either way, Grace said. Touching my arm, it's peace. Later that night, as the gala wound down, Lena found me again, on the terrace overlooking the city. She approached quietly. You always liked balconies, she said. Still do, I replied. Less noise out here. She stood beside me, shivering slightly. You changed, I had to. Her voice trembled. You must hate me. I turned to face her. Once, maybe. Now. I just don't feel anything. Tears welled in her eyes. Adam's not who I thought he was. Everything's falling apart. The investors, the company, stop, I said firmly. Don't make me your confession box. I just needed someone to listen. I had that once, I said quietly. You traded it for ambition. She covered her face, whispering, I made a mistake. I stared at the skyline. We all do. But not everyone gets a second chance. Would you ever forgive me? I let the question hang in the cold air. Forgiveness isn't mine to give anymore. It belongs to the man you left behind. Her shoulders shook. I miss who we were. I looked at her one last time. As I walked back inside, Grace met me near the door. You okay? Yeah, I said. She finally saw the truth. And what's that? That I survived. Grace smiled softly. More than survived, Ethan. You won. Maybe she was right. Maybe this was what victory felt like. Not loud, not vengeful, but quiet and absolute. For the first time since losing everything, I felt nothing. And that nothing finally felt like peace. I didn't destroy Adam Reed. He destroyed himself. It started with whispers, quiet ones that grew like wildfire. The kind of rumors people pretend not to believe but can't stop repeating, Grace read from her phone one morning. Anonymous reports suggest Reed Enterprises falsified financial statements to secure investor trust. Stirred my coffee. Anonymous, huh? She looked up. You know anything about it? I met her eyes. Not a thing. Her smile was faint. You don't even look surprised. I'm not, I said. People who build on lies eventually collapse under them.
Yes.
2 days later, the news broke loud and merciless. Aiden Brooks, a journalist I'd met months earlier at a conference, called me directly. Ethan, you're going to want to see this, he said. Excitement buzzing through the line. What happened? Reed's been caught laundering funds through offshore accounts. Someone leaked the evidence, internal documents, signatures, wire transfers. I leaned back in my chair. Who leaked it? He chuckled. That's the mystery. But whoever it was, they knew where to look. It's interesting, I said quietly. You sound calm for a guy whose rival's going down. I learned that calm people win twice. Once in silence. Once when truth speaks. Aiden laughed. Remind me never to cross you. By noon, every news outlet was on fire. Screens flashed Adam's face beside bold headlines. Corruption scandal shakes Reed Enterprises. CEO under investigation for fraud and bribery. I watched from my office window as chaos erupted in the financial district. Lucas walked in, grinning. Have you seen the news? I have. Unbelievable. The mighty Reed finally trips. Not unbelievable, I said. Predictable. Lucas nodded slowly. You think he deserves it? I exhaled. I don't need to think it. Karma already decided. That evening I saw Lena on TV, standing outside a courthouse. Microphones pointed at her like weapons. A reporter asked Miss Hart, "Do you believe the accusations against Adam Reed are true?" Her lips trembled. Adam is a good man. He's just misunderstood, another voice shouted. Then why are the documents signed in his name? She froze. Grace muted the screen. She looks terrified. She should be, I said softly. Grace turned to me. You really don't feel bad? I hesitated. Part of me does. Which part? The part that remembers loving her. She nodded quietly. And the rest? The rest is grateful it's not me standing there. The next day, Adam called me. His number flashing on my phone felt surreal. I answered anyway. Adam. His voice cracked. You think this is funny, don't you? No, I said. Just inevitable. Don't play innocent. You're behind this. I know it. Believe what you want, I said calmly. But if I'd done it, I wouldn't need to deny it. You think you've won? He hissed. I didn't play the game, I replied. You played yourself. You smug. I cut him off. Enjoy your silence, Adam. It's overdue. He cursed before hanging up. Grace, who'd been listening, said you could have destroyed him with words. You chose restraint, 'cause the world's already doing it for me. 2 weeks later, Reed Enterprises officially collapsed. Aiden called again. It's done. The board fired him, and federal agents arrested him this morning. Charges include fraud, embezzlement, and bribery. I didn't speak for a while. You there? He asked. Yeah. You sound sad. Maybe because this isn't triumph, I said quietly. It's a funeral without a coffin. He sighed. You're a strange man, Ethan. Most people would celebrate. Did, I said. Just years ago, the day I stopped needing revenge. Later, Clara, an old colleague from my company, stopped by my office. She leaned against the door. You hear? Lena's been blacklisted. No firm wants her after defending Adam. I figured, I said. She was at a gala last night, tried talking to investors. They turned their backs on her. I said nothing. Clara frowned. You're not enjoying this, are you? Should I? She betrayed you. She did, I said. But pain isn't currency. You can't spend it forever. Clara nodded slowly. You've changed. Pain changes everyone, I said. That night I walked along the river alone. The city lights reflected on the water, gold breaking into ripples. My phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. You got what you wanted. Are you happy now? I stared at it for a long time before replying. Happiness doesn't come from someone else's downfall. Take care of yourself, Lena. She never responded. A week later, I saw her by chance outside a coffee shop. No makeup, no designer dress, just a lost woman clutching her coat like it held her dignity. She saw me and froze. Ethan, Lena. Her voice shook. He's gone. They took him away in handcuffs. I know. I have nothing left. You still have yourself, I said. She laughed bitterly. That's the worst part. I wanted to say something kind, maybe even comforting, but the words didn't come. Some things don't deserve to be healed by the same hands they broke. I hope you find peace. I said instead. She whispered, You already have, haven't you? I didn't answer. My silence said enough. Back at my apartment, Grace sat waiting on the couch. You saw her, she said. I did. And she's finally living the truth she built. Grace reached for my hand. And you? I'm finally free from it. She smiled faintly. Karma did its job. Yeah, I said quietly. And I didn't even have to lift a finger. I stepped onto my balcony, the wind cool against my face. Down below, the world moved on fast, indifferent. For years, I'd imagined this day, her tears. His downfall, my satisfaction. But standing there, I realized it wasn't victory that filled me. It was peace. Not the loud kind that roars for revenge. The quiet kind that comes when you've already won by walking away. It was late afternoon when my secretary called through the intercom. Sir, there's someone here to see you. I glanced at the clock. I don't have any meetings scheduled. She says her name is Lena. My hand froze on the pen. For a moment, silence filled the room. Then I said quietly, Send her in. The door opened slowly. She stepped inside, hair tangled, eyes swollen. Makeup smeared like a memory of who she used to be. Ethan, she whispered. I stood. Lena, her voice cracked. You look different. I should, I said. It's been a long road. She nodded shakily. I almost didn't come. I didn't think you'd even see me. I wasn't sure I should, I admitted. She took a hesitant step forward. I've been trying to find the right words, but they don't come out right. Try anyway. Her shoulders trembled. I was wrong. About everything. About you. I didn't answer. I just watched her, this woman who once shattered me. Now, standing in the ruins of her own choices, she looked at me desperately. I thought Adam could give me what I wanted. Stability, status, but he gave me nothing. Not even respect. I said quietly, You traded love for an illusion. Tears filled her eyes, and I lost both. I stayed silent. She moved closer. I heard what you've become. The company, the success. You deserve it, Ethan. You always did. I didn't build it to prove anything to you, I said. I know, but it still hurts knowing I was the reason you had to start over. For a while, neither of us spoke. The air felt heavy, like every unspoken word we'd buried years ago had come back to breathe between us, finally. She said, I'm not here for sympathy. I came because I can't sleep knowing what I did to you. You betrayed me, Lena, I said quietly. Not just with Adam, but with doubt. You made me believe I wasn't enough. Her tears fell freely now. I was stupid. I let greed speak louder than love. I looked down at the floor, then back at her. Why now? Why come back? She hesitated. Because I need you to forgive me. Not for me, for you. I don't want to be the ghost haunting your success. I smiled faintly. You already stopped haunting me the day I let go. Her voice broke. Then why does this hurt so much? Because you're finally feeling what I felt, I said. Losing something real. She stepped closer, her voice trembling. Is there any part of you that still loves me? I took a slow breath. Once there was a time, I'd have said yes without thinking. But love doesn't survive betrayal. Only lessons do. She covered her mouth, stifling a sob. I don't deserve your kindness. I'm not giving you kindness, I said softly. I'm giving you closure. She looked up, confused. Closure. Yes, I said. I forgive you, Lena. She blinked in disbelief. You forgive me? I do, I said. But not because I want you back. I forgive you so I can finally move on. Clean, light, and free. Her tears streamed faster. You really don't hate me? Hate is a chain, I said. And I've carried enough weight already. She reached out as if to touch my hand, but stopped midway. You've changed. I had to, I said. Pain demands transformation. She nodded slowly. I see it now. You don't need revenge. You already won. It was never about winning, I said quietly. It was about healing. She looked down. And me? You'll have to find your own way back, I said. Not to me, to yourself. Can I ask one last thing? What? When you think of me, what do you feel? I thought for a moment. Peace. She closed her eyes. That's something I don't have yet. You will, I said gently. But not today. She took a shaky breath, wiped her tears, and stepped back. Goodbye, Ethan. Goodbye. Lena, as she turned to leave, I felt no anger, no longing, just a strange stillness, like the world had finally exhaled. When the door clicked shut, I walked to the window. The city lights shimmered far below, alive, indifferent, endless. For years, I dreamed of this moment, her regret, my strength, our ending. But standing there, I realized something. Forgiveness isn't for the one who asks. It's for the one who chooses peace. And for the first time, I truly had it. Do you ever stop working? Grace asked, leaning on the doorway of my office. A mug of coffee in her hand, I smiled. You say that like it's a bad thing. It's when the sun's rising and you're still staring at spreadsheets. I looked out the window. The sky was streaked with orange and gold. Old habits die hard. She walked closer, placing the coffee beside me. You used to work to forget. Now you work to build. That's different. I turned to her. You always find the right words. That's because I was there when you lost yours, she said softly. Mr. Donovan's voice came from behind her. And there he is, the man who turned my small venture into an empire. I laughed. You give me too much credit, he waved his hand. I gave you a chance, not success. You earned that on your own, Grace smiled at him. He still doesn't know how to take a compliment. Mr. Donovan chuckled. Then I'll make it simple. Ethan, you've built something rare, integrity with power. Don't ever lose that. I won't, I said, because I know what it costs to rebuild yourself. After he left, Grace sat across from me. You ever think about how far you've come? All the time, I said quietly. But not in the way people think. She tilted her head. How do you mean? I don't measure it in money or titles. I measure it in peace, in how easily I sleep now, how calm my heart feels when I think about the past. She smiled. That's rare. Most people chase success to forget pain. I chased peace to remember who I am. Her hand brushed mine gently. And who are you now? I took a breath. A man who learned that love doesn't always stay, but it always teaches. A man who forgave not because he had to, but because he finally wanted to. She studied me quietly. Do you ever think about her? Sometimes, I admitted. But it's not anger anymore. It's gratitude in a strange way. If she hadn't left, I'd never have met the version of myself I actually like. Grace's eyes softened. You talk like a man who's finally free. I am, I said simply. I don't wake up chasing revenge or validation. I wake up wanting to build people, dreams, futures. She smiled. That's the man I fell for. I looked at her, warmth spreading through me. You've been the calm in my storm, Grace. She shook her head. You were the one who chose to stand after falling. I just reminded you you could. The office phone rang, and I ignored it. It can wait, I said. Grace raised an eyebrow. Mr. Workaholic, ignoring a call? That's new. I chuckled. Maybe I'm learning balance. Or maybe, she teased, you finally realized life isn't just about the next deal. I smiled. It's about the next sunrise. She looked toward the window. Then let's not miss this one. We stood side by side, watching the light spill into the room. For the first time in years, I felt completely still. No weight pressing down, no ghosts whispering from the past. After a long silence, I said, I used to think my story was about losing her. But it was never about that. Grace turned to me. Then, what was it about? Becoming someone I could respect? I said, turning pain into purpose. She smiled softly. And did you? Yes, I said. I became the man I needed back then. Later that evening, we met Mr. Donovan for dinner. He raised a glass. To the journey, he said. I lifted mine. To the lessons that hurt but heal, Grace added, and to the man who stopped running from his past. We laughed, the kind that feels earned. Mr. Donovan leaned forward. So, Ethan, what's next for you? I thought for a moment. To teach others what you taught me, that success without peace is failure in disguise. He nodded approvingly. Spoken like a man who's found both? That night, lying beside Grace, I stared at the ceiling. She whispered, You're thinking again.
Always.
I said. But this time, it's different. It's not regret, it's gratitude. She smiled in the dim light. For what? For the heartbreak that built me, I said. For the mistakes that became my foundation. For the woman who stayed when I couldn't see my worth. She reached for my hand. You earned every piece of peace you have. I closed my eyes. Maybe. Or maybe it was always waiting for me. I just had to stop fighting myself long enough to find it. Her fingers tightened around mine. Sleep, Ethan. And for once, I did. Not as the man who was broken, not as the one who was betrayed, but as the man I became.